It's boring. The music scene boring. It's a whole lot of politics. We done made music political. So it take a whole lot of ass kissing, a whole lot of shoulder rubbing and all of that shit where talent should be able to speak. But it's an exciting side once you get into it. Like once you get into the depth of it, then you will realize how much talent it really is in the city. Because it's a lot of people that's trying to make it like only the people that's mainstream Detroit is the music scene, but that's not even it. It's a whole nother scene, and that's where it get good at. So the whole problem is getting that underground excitement to the mainstream, because that's what's gonna make fans get more excited about the music. Right now, everybody bored. It ain't just me saying it's boring. Everybody bored. The only people listening to music is the idiots running around here, shooting niggas and shit. They're the only niggas that's excited about the music because they feel like it's, the soundtrack to their dumb shit. It's real life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's people saying they make real life music, but you're not making real life music when you sleeping on your mama couch and you rapping about Bentleys and mansions and shit. You know what I'm saying? So my music, real life music, that's what I'm known for. So that's what I do. Nah, my music don't fit in the Detroit style of music because what Detroit want to hear ain't really what the world want to hear. Because in Detroit, you have people saying, this is the Detroit sound. Mm-hmm. But once you get outside of Detroit, nobody cared so much about Blade. They talking about Dilla. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So you got a Dilla Day. You got all of that outside of Detroit. And I'm not saying that, the celebration we have in Detroit ain't, great or whatever. But I'm saying Dilla is celebrated outside of Detroit. And it's a lot of people who argue with me and argue with everybody else about, the different artists from here, Blade and Juan and all of them. Shout out to Juan, Free the Boy Juan. But it's different when you make a global impact on your music. Like, it's producers that's million selling, platinum producers that looked up to Dilla. You know what I mean? You got Jay and Kanye, them that give Dilla shout outs and all of that. People got to be more realistic and look at it for a broad stroke and understand that the world is bigger than Detroit. So, in Detroit, my music don't fit in. But when you go outside of Detroit and people listening to my music, they think that's Detroit music because I'm more Dilla than Blade. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, I go through the same struggles that people like them go through. Black Milk, Elzai, Royce. Prime example, Royce had the #1 album in the country, the #1 rap album this year. And Detroit wasn't playing a Royce song on the radio. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like you gotta give a little bit and understand what your ultimate goal is. And my ultimate goal was never to be the biggest artist in Detroit. If that was the case, then I would have went and got Vezzo or Peasy for a feature. I mean, they only a phone call away. Everybody only a phone call away, but I didn't do that. I got Black Milk, Elzai, both. You know what I'm saying? I work with artists that's making a bigger impact in the city. Not to say that those guys are any better than the Vezzos and the Peasies and Jigs and Red Zone Tays and those guys. I'm just saying it's a different look. And when you going for the world, you're not going to worry about what's popping in Detroit. That's like going to a fashion show and all you care about, well, they wearing trues in Detroit, nigga. In New York, they wearing Balmains and all that. You talking about some trues, you going to walk in there looking stupid. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you hot in Detroit. Because if I walked in here with Balmain jeans on right now, most of these Detroit niggas not going to understand that and don't know what Balmain is. You know what I'm saying? So in Detroit, you can be consistent with Detroit or you can be a trendsetter and shoot for the whole world. And I felt like that's what I'm doing. And that's what I've been consistent at. I've heard artists make music like mine say that they not worried about fitting in Detroit, and then they do everything in their power to try to fit in Detroit. Cause who don't want to be loved at home? Right. You know what I'm saying? But in the big picture, I've always been a big picture person. That don't matter to me. I don't have to go perform at every strip club. I don't make strip club music. Why do I need to be in the strip club rapping about the shit I'm rapping about? I'm rapping about real life music. So I take a lot of flack on the fact that, man, you not this and that in Detroit. And I'm not the biggest artist in the world or none of that. But I'm consistent. You know what I'm saying? I'm consistent in the fact that I know that I'm not trying to fit in with what everybody doing. That's like being in school. You get people, man, fuck them. They, you know, the popular kids ain't shit. Like, no, nigga, you hating on the popular kids because if your mama bought you Jordans every week and you can do whatever some of the shit they did, you would want to fit in. But I was popular without having to fit in with the popular kids. I ain't get a pair of Jordans till I got a sack. You know what I'm saying? I ain't do none of that. So I'm content in my position in music the same way I was content with my position in life growing up. Okay. About 5 years ago, I came home and I put out a mixtape. I didn't even understand what the sound click beats and all of that shit was. I came home to my homeboy house and he just had a studio in there that he used. He didn't have no connections in music around the city. He hadn't really done no shows, nothing. He just had a little makeshift studio that he had put together. So I just was recording in there. He had a bunch of sound click beats. He hadn't bought no beats from nobody. I didn't understand tracking out beats and, you know, really having real production. All I knew was when I left, somebody else pretty much was doing that for me. When I had my record deal, they was making sure the beats and all that was good. So when I came home, I was doing everything on my own and I didn't understand shit about music. All I knew how to do was rap. So what I did was, I'm like, man, play a beat and I rap. So I put out a project like that, and then I went to Tony Rizzo's house because one of my homeboys owed me a couple dollars. And instead of him paying me a couple dollars, I told him just give me some studio time. So I went to Rizzo's house, who was a professional engineer, and he did the second half of my first mixtape, The Power of One. And it was dope, you know what I mean? It was put together good, but I still hadn't perfected nothing. I just was a rapping ass nigga. I went and did 10 songs in like 5 hours, just rapping, mixtape shit. I'm just like, bro, play the next beat. You know, I got something else. Here go another beat, play the beat. So I went from that to A Beautiful Mind, which by that time I had learned how to play around on Pro Tools a little bit. So I like mixed the shit myself. And I mean, it wasn't professional, but it was straight. I tried to put something together and it was dope because it was like a real mixtape where it was just beats and flow. It wasn't really no hooks. It's just me just rapping. And you know what I'm saying? They had a couple little songs in there, but really it was just about the flow. So I was getting the hang of being in the studio and recording on my own because my homeboy, he was living his life. He just was like, look, I'm going to show you how to work the Pro Tools because, nigga, you going to quit calling me every fucking day. Now you can sit in here and do what you do. And that's what I did with A Beautiful Mind. By the time I got around to my third album, which it had been like 9 months. My third project came out about 9 months, me being home. And by the time I got around to that, it was a project that DJ BJ was supposed to host. Now, I don't have no problem with DJ BJ, but around that time, DJ BJ was hosting a lot of shit. And some of the shit wasn't dope. So I felt like just because DJ BJ hosting it, it don't mean it's going to be successful for me because he just hosted some whack shit. You know what I'm saying? So I was understanding the business a little more because the partner that I had to do the business wasn't taking care of the business. So now I get into making the third project. I had my own studio, a booth, everything built at my house. You know what I'm saying? I had a new partner and we had put some shit together and had it, you know, it was together. So then I understood mixing. So Rizzo mixed the album. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning. So by the time I went into Gifted and Talented, I was totally on my own, totally had my own studio. I was doing everything on my own. All the money was coming out of my pocket. Business plans was all my own. Marketing plans was all my own. I understood mixing, mastering. So I'm like, damn, okay, this is what mastering is, making sure the album sound good. So that was in 2013. So now in 2 years, I put out, actually it was 5 projects because it was a project in between them. The first 3, I didn't have the money to push it like I wanted to. So I put out another mixtape with DJ Pest that was like my favorite solo songs from the first 3. You see what I'm saying? So I had 5 projects in like 2 years. So going into 2014, I decided, you know, I'm slow down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So I put like the extended version of Gifted and Talented out January 2014, just so I could have a project out that year. You know what I'm saying? So I put that out in 2014. That was just to say I got a project out in 2014. You feel me? So we dropped the EP earlier this year. It got a great response. We ended up shooting a video for one of the songs on there, and then we dropped a mixtape rapping over all the hottest beats and meshing it up. So we made it like a remix mixtape, and we call that Heavy Rotation. And then we dropped real Motown music, and the city went crazy. So we put a lot into it, man. The artwork was dope. The CD looked dope. It looked like a real Motown record. So I ended up, a little more buzz, and we here today. I would tell a new artist to stay consistent and have a plan, because if you have a plan, it don't matter what happens. You gonna always veer back to that plan, or you sit down and make a new plan. Because sometimes you can plan, and even the best laid plans can go wrong. So once that happens, it's time for you to sit down and make a new plan. Like, okay, this happened. Like, you can have something be super successful that you didn't account for. So now you're like, dang, okay, I can do this. So you gotta maneuver. Like with me, the first Fire and Brimstone, it took off, and it started gaining, some speed. And I had already put a date for the Fire and Brimstone 2 that I had to stick to. Because really, I could have been doing Fire and Brimstone 3 coming up. Because each one got bigger. But that's why you kind of got to... It was good to put those dates out there. But it would have been better just to plan and kept it to myself. That way I can maneuver based on the success or the failure of the projects. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that way you can you know when it's time to put out a new project. You shouldn't be held to a date, and I was held to dates. You know what I'm saying? That was the biggest thing with the Fire and Brimstone trilogy. So I tell new artists, man, stay consistent and build your team, man. You always need a team. I do it like everything on my own, but I got people I can call on for advice, people I can call on for different stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I got my engineers, my video guys, and you know what I'm saying? They act fast, but they mind slow. They carry guns because they can't hold a convo. And I ain't talking down, homie, I've sown. Bad seeds, but in time, homie, I've grown. I've shown the diligence of militant attack. Lost years, lost peers through the ignorance and lack. So sincere, lost tears, knew I couldn't get them back. But I never lost faith for the semblance of fact. They go for the kill, the righteous has run for the heel. The fighters are moral and standards, the victory's won for the skill. Passion is nil, null, voided, destroy for the base in our voices. The streets are the streets, chances is slim, future is dim. But that's all that's left of our choices. We've chosen to cower within, follow the crowd, no confident men. All they do now is empower their friends who's lacking of knowledge, so how do they win? So how do they win? A couple more years and they'll ask me again. I still wouldn't answer or try to pretend they're chasing the fire, just trying to live. Now all that's left is the end. Damn. Woo. That is so hard. What's up, world? It's JP1, aka Jackpot the Chosen One. I'm kicking it live with Urban Life Network, representing Southwest to the fullest. Ben Harbor, stand up though.